Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Atlanta BeltLine Business Solutions offices. The BeltLine Business Ventures Artist Edition informational session today. Happy Sunday. I know in the email and reminder that I sent you all was a Zoom link that is tied to my name. So if you can, please change your name so we know exactly who is in the room today to your name. You can put your preferred gender pronouns on there as well. And then for those who already have their name, we would love to say hello, 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 and welcome. So please um, drop your name, your artist handle, or your medium in the chat so we can say hello and welcome. Hi. All right. Welcome, welcome. I see Christine Cannon, Ian Gallo, Emmanuel Laidlaw. Hello, Peter Flaming. Hi, Tamika. So good to see you. If you still have Tiffany Latrice on your name, please change it. Sorry, I shared the Zoom link with my name, so easy so you guys can click on it, but please, we would love to know who's all here. Oh, okay, film photography, beautiful. Oh, thanks for sharing your Instagram handle. Christine, can't wait to check it out. Awesome. All right, y'all, we're gonna get started in about 1 minute. Beautiful sculpture. I can't wait to see your work, Peter. I'm not a sculptor. Like, it's so hard. I took a clay class in New York and I didn't realize how active your muscles and your hands have to be to use to be a sculptor. All right, looks like we're getting some more people in here. Welcome, welcome. All right, I'll continue to admit people as the session goes on, but welcome to our BeltLine Business Ventures Artist Edition informational session. My name is Tiffany Latrice, and I have the exciting pleasure to work with the Atlanta BeltLine to bring to you this incredible 9-week incubator that will elevate and amplify your career and really position you to take on public art projects that you may be like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be good at this, but you'll have the tools and the skill sets to do so. So just wanted to say welcome. And we have two incredible people here with us on the call. Um, I will introduce those people to you shortly. Just want to go over the agenda quickly. We'll go over the entire program, so let you know what you have to look forward to. We know that's been vague in the marketing materials, but you in this informational session will get a firsthand sneak peek of what the curriculum looks like. We'll go over key dates, making sure you know when things are happening, what the time commitment is, so you're well equipped to know if you can actually be a successful applicant. We'll give you a preview of the curriculum. We'll let you know what to look for, the topics and themes that we're going to be covering, and how you can benefit as a participant of the cohort. And then we'll go over the application. We'll demystify every fear that you may have about this application and say, man, I'm not prepared, but you are, and really help you just see the benefit of why we're asking these questions, and then really how does that actually affect the rubric and scoring. And then afterwards, we'll leave about, 15 minutes for Q&A. You can ask us any question under the sun. We will try to be as honest and open as possible and make sure you guys feel comfortable with applying for this incredible pilot program. Does that sound good? Awesome. And for those of you who are just joining, if you have my name, Tiffany Latrice, on there, please change it to your name, so we know who's all in the call. So without further ado, I have the exciting opportunity to welcome two incredible team members that are helping bring this program to life. Aisha White, she will actually be your program facilitator throughout the whole entire 9 weeks. She is the Director of Creative Operations for TILA Studios. TILA Studios is an organization that amplifies Black women visual artists in the city of Atlanta. But we also touch so many different components, from public art to mural making to commission work across the city. And we've been selected to be the consultants for this program. Aisha's really cool because she comes with a background of an organizer. She has an incredible social practice. She has helped develop large-scale exhibitions, festivals, public art installations across the United States. She has a really cool installation that she's doing in Rhode Island. She has an extensive administrative consulting background that has supported fabrication, production for projects, including the Smithsonian Institution, Metropolitan Museum of Art, and Amazon HQ2 in Washington, D.C. So as your facilitator, she's going to give you so much juicy information. I have the also distinct honor to introduce you to Miss Lynette Reed. She is absolutely incredible. She is the Vice President of Planning, Engagement, and Art for the Atlanta BeltLine. She joined the ABI team as the Community Engagement Advocate and served as the Senior Community Planner. She is now the Vice President of Planning, Engagement, and Art, and with approximately 20 years of public sector experience, Reed brings a wealth of experience related to community planning, engagement, land use, zoning, and regulatory development. So say hi to both Aisha and Lynette in the chat. And then I'm going to hand it over to Lynette, who is one of the ideators of the program, to kind of give you some background of why the Beltline thought it was necessary to have a program like this at this moment in their trajectory. Lynette, all you.
Sure. Thank you, Tiffany. And so just a little context to my background. So if you saw land use and zoning, you say, well, why? This is not art at all. How is she attached to this? So art falls under my team. I've been with the Atlanta Beltline for 13 years in June. And in my current capacity, the last 6 months. And so thrilled to be a part of the artist community and learning and growing and just creating public spaces that we activate and making public art or art in general accessible to the public. And so the genesis of this program, we have had an Art on a BeltLine program for over 14, 15 years now. And I think it's important to note that the original intention of that program was just to get people on the BeltLine. Like this was back 15 years ago when one segment of the trail was built. And our director of design at the time said, well, what do we do to get people on the trail? The co-concept of trails in the core of Atlanta was not something that we had at the time. And so the idea was, how about we do open calls and get people to come out there for artists to do work and for then the public to then engage with the art. And that was the whole goal. And 15 years later, we can say we checked that box. People are on the BeltLine. You go out there right now on any part, it's bustling with people and activity. And so over the years, what we've been looking at now is just the idea of how do we attract a lot of different artists, right? How do we build a pipeline? As we've done surveys in the past or seen proposals come through, we noticed that there was a deficit, quite honestly, from Black and Brown artists in the sculpture space. And that was really the genesis initially was, hey, let's come up with a cohort or program that serves everyone, but obviously and intentionally also really tries to uplift this particular gap that we're finding in the artist community. And so that was the genesis, the ideation behind it. Aisha and I by no means are just the two. There's a whole team of people that I call the machine behind this that you'll meet throughout the project. And so what is this? What is this collaboration? So art is on one side of the house of the BeltLine and economic development is on the other side. And we decided to join forces to really come up with a platform and a program that to really uplift the artists in this space. And so it's a 9-week pilot program, a collaboration between our Business Solution Office and like was mentioned by Tiffany, the TILA Studios, which aims to equip creative professionals with skills needed to land sculpture public art projects around the world and ultimately grow as entrepreneurs and artists. 20 artists of varying backgrounds, experience levels, and mediums will be selected for this first cohort, which will launch early this summer. And during the program, artists will take part in a hybrid curriculum consisting of in-person and virtual sessions led by experienced public artists from around the country. I can't wait for you to see the catalog of facilitators that they have put together. This will be a very enriching time. Each week session will focus on sharpening tools that equip artists to live from their craft, including a career roadmap, engaging with the community, writing proposals, and that's a big deal. That's something that we see a lot, that there can be a lot of development in that space, and navigating contract negotiations. And that's critically important for artists to know their worth, their value, and how to negotiate that when they're dealing with public entities or private sector, et cetera. And to cap off the program, artists will be invited to an in-person graduation ceremony and have a proposal presentation time. So whereby they'll be able to share what they've learned, while also networking with key figures in the local public art scene. So all Metro Atlanta artists are, regardless of age, gender identity or expression or sexual orientation, race or ethnicity, ability or income, are encouraged to apply. Special consideration will be given to artists that live within what we call our equity priority areas. And those are what we know as sub areas 1, 2, 9, and 10. I'll say, okay, so what sub areas? And so these are geographic areas based on how we kind of plan and do some of our planning work. So sub area 1 is like in the West End, sub area 2 is along University, and 9 and 10 is like west around Boulevard, Bankhead Highway, and not Langford, and Boone Boulevard. So it's all the way on the west and southwest. So those are what we call our equity priority areas, and we use those in all of our planning efforts at the Atlanta Beltline. And really, the intention there is to really target communities that have been historically disenfranchised in some capacity, and how do we have programs to help kind of raise those situations. So that's the overall objective of the program. We're thrilled that you are here today to learn more information. And with that, I'll turn it over to Tiffany to tell you, or Aisha, to talk through the
Well,
rest of the program.
thank you so much, Lynette. That was such a great overview. I hope you all are excited. Now let's get into some key dates. I'm going to hand it over to Aisha.
All right, thank you for being with us today. We'll quickly go over the key dates. We're kind of in the middle or beginning of this timeline already. The application closes launched March 27 and it closes on the 30th. So today is the last informational session that you'll get before we close the application. And we'll be sending out notifications to applicants by May 20th, and the program begins June 4th, which is why it's really important that you answer the question about availability in the application, because it is a quick turnaround. All the dates are already set, so we're hoping everyone can be available. Classes are every Tuesday from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. With a hybrid virtual in person. So some sessions are in person and some sessions are virtual, depending on if we're doing site visits or speakers from out of town. The program ends August 6th with a graduation, and it's a tight 9 weeks, but packed with really, really, really useful information. So if you're looking for something that really is just like light and heavy, I don't know if this is the program for you. We go pretty far and deep with a lot of these topics, which I think we get to the curriculum preview. All right, 9 weeks. Do, do, Week 1, June 4th, is the orientation and welcome and objectives, where y'all will meet myself in person, the other facilitators, some of the other partners like the Beltline, and sort of get to know each other and the cohort. We'll talk about like what is happening over the 9 weeks, as well as how you'll each individually progress over time. Week 2, which is a really, really amazing part of the program, which is creating your entrepreneurial journey. Like Lynette said, this is built out of the BeltLine business ventures. So you will also be learning how to build up your business acumen as well as your artistic practices for public art. And those things go hand in hand. As we all know, artists are entrepreneurs. Week 3, research is key, ideation to production, which is June 18th in person. We'll be talking about creating ideas, developing teams, how do you work with fabricators, and week 4 is documentation and portfolio development. Week 5 is ethical community engagement, one of my favorite topics. We'll be working on how do we build out these site visits proposals and working with underrepresented or under-resourced communities in our projects. And we'll work on more writing and winning proposals and RFPs in week 6. 7 is contract negotiation and lawyers. 8 is personal budgets and project management and tools. And 9 is the graduation and presentation of y'all's portfolios at the end of the project. Awesome.
Awesome. And yeah, I will also just uplift that for all the in-person sessions, we will have food. So you won't be starving during dinner time. So food will be provided, and all the sessions are going to be happening in West Midtown. at the new and established goat farm. So just to kind of give y'all a sense of beating traffic and making sure you're there on time. And then with the virtual experience, we'll definitely make time for breaks. We know people can be
Mhm.
overstimulated, and there will also be time for just workshopping the things that you learned. We won't just be having talking
Yeah.
head. The sessions are supposed to be very hands-on, very collaborative and interactive. So you won't just be taking a whole bunch of notes. You'll actually be talking to one another and actually working through the ideas presented in the session. And the last thing I would want to say is that June 18th, we have some previous BeltLine sculpture artists that will be giving some fireside chats. And then also there'll be a site visit to a local fabricator. So you'll actually see how your ideas are concepted and actually see how they can be manifested in reality. Because we all of you all are artists from various backgrounds, and you may be like, I'm not a public artist, but anyone who's an artist is a public artist. And so you just have to have the idea, the ways to engage with the community in an ethical way, and really know how to actually bring the program, your project to life. And that's what we want to show you, that you all are public artists, just because you are a living artist. So I hope that also gives some color as well. Awesome. Okay. So I know many of you have some questions regarding the application. So we're going to kind of walk you through them in sections and kind of just walk you through why we're asking those questions and what we're asking, and to not feel like there's a right or wrong answer. It's just to really see where you are in your creative entrepreneurship journey. So I'm going to hand it back over to Aisha.
Awesome. All right, everyone. The first section is what you find in your standard application. It's the personal contact information. If you fill out all of these questions, you get all the points for this section. It's really just so we understand where you're coming from, what kind of diversity do we have inside the program, what areas of the city. And then don't be afraid about anything. There's not going to be any marks off for your identity or how you express yourself. We really just want to know who's coming into the room with us. The next section, which is the business insights questions, these are also really important to answer honestly as well. This is not a, if you don't have an LLC, you're going to be marked down. That's actually, we just want to know what kind of information do we need to supply the people coming into the program. So if we have a lot of LLCs or sole proprietors, we may skip the section where it's developing your business from the beginning. But if we do need to talk about business, permits and licenses, as well as like how do you form a corporation in Atlanta, that will help us develop the curriculum. So also figure out where you all are coming from in your development stages of your practices.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think too, it's like we want you to come in here eager to learn, and don't be afraid to be honest in this section, because if there's, say the cohort is split with 50% of people who have registered businesses and 50% that does not, then that means that we can pair you up with a peer
Mm,
to help you get your creative business started if you wanted to, and actually help coach you through that. So if you don't have one, it's totally fine. Just answer these questions honestly.
yeah, exactly. And the continuation of those. Do you keep separate financial records? Do you file taxes separately? Have you consulted or hired an accountant for your practice? Again, these are helping us create the curriculum and figure out what y'all need for the process to grow as business artists, because this is also a business accelerator along with a public art boot camp. So let's see. Continued. Again, how do you access capital? And are you currently enrolled in health insurance plan? Because that is also an important part of being a sole proprietor and solo entrepreneur, how we take care of ourselves in the long run. So we want to know, how can we best support y'all as we build out this program? Awesome. Okay, artistic profile. Pretty standard. We've gotten some questions about 23. Are we looking for specific types of artists? Honestly, any one of these artists or any categories, even if we don't have it on there, you're selecting multiple, you can be a public artist. I've worked with a variety of mediums. That's why we have a week about fabrication and ideation. It's about taking your particular practice and making it into public art. So if you have an idea or just an inkling of where you want to go, I still encourage you to apply, even though you feel like you're current practice as a photographer or anything like that. I've seen it before. photographers are also public artists. Have you ever applied to the Art on the Beltline before? We are curious about who has applied and received commissions before, which is why we have questions 24 and 25. Okay, next section. These are the pretty standard applications. We would like your artist bio, artist statement, website is not required, or if you have social media, that's not required, but share it with us. We'd love to see it. And then a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 10 work samples, um, all in one PDF form. Please include a very brief description of the work, and that's it. We want to keep it brief because we are reading quite a few applications, but minimum 5, maximum 10 work samples. And then also 31 being important that you can actually commit to the program and the dates that we have, as well as the Tuesday, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. throughout the 9 weeks. Okay. All right, insight questions. These are where we're really digging in and want to know more about your practice and your fit for the program. We want to learn about how will this accelerated program benefit you in this particular moment over the next 3 to 5 years. For this question, I would think about answering how you see public art fitting into your overall trajectory as an artist. This is something that you see yourself pursuing. Do you see it really boosting your career? How is it benefiting you to receive and be a part of this program? 33, have you explored different avenues for showcasing and selling your art? And if so, what have been the most effective strategies and what have been your barriers? Really curious about what else do you need in this area of support when it comes to showcasing, selling, and getting your artwork out there? And what current avenues are you really putting effort into to really put yourself out there as an artist in the Atlanta area or beyond? So really want to make sure people are really dedicated to their practice and putting in the work because we're hoping that people who come through this program are going to be long-term artists and are going to actually use the resources that we share with them. Question 34, how have you balanced your artist integrity of your work with the practice aspects of running a business such as marketing and finance, which is a hard question for I think most artists because that is something we deal with on a daily basis. Like, how do we also be a business, think about finance and marketing while also balancing our creative practices and our values, and making sure that they align. So we really want to know how y'all are moving through these spaces, because as you move into larger and larger practices and projects, this stuff starts to get harder and harder. So if you're thinking about it already, we want to know and how you're approaching it. Did I miss anything, Tiffany and Lynette, on these three?
No, I do want to just stop and give time for questions because I know people have a lot about the questions before we get into the rubric. So just raise your hand and I will call on you if you have any questions regarding the application. Anyone going once? Oh, y'all are a quiet group. Okay. No question.
Easy then.
What'd
And
you
if you have
say?
a question, I said easy, but if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat too. We can read it out loud for you if you don't feel like speaking out loud.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into the rubric. What everybody wants to know.
Yes, the big questions. So we have 3, 4, 5 main areas, which are dictated by the number of the questions in each one. The first area is you meet the requirements of the program. You're an artist living in Atlanta, located within the state of Georgia. You've submitted all the correct materials and filled out the entire application correctly. You get that? Great. You get 5 points. The next session is professional business need. This is those questions we are talking about. Are you already an LLC? Are you a sole proprietor? All those things. And for this area, we're sort of assessing, can you be supported or could you use more help in this area? So 5 points if you could use support, 1 point if you're already established and up and running. Time commitment and availability. So this question, we've added the 6:30 to 8:30 on Tuesdays, which is 15 points if you're allowed or capable of meeting all of the dates for the program, and committing to the full length of the 6:30 to 8:30, everything and all like that. History of a dedicated practice. This is questions 24 through 27, each one worth 5 points. 5 points being a clear dedication to your practice, artistic philosophy, and sense of investigation, and 1 point being under practice or lower dedication to practice that we're seeing and could use more guess, commitment in that area. So this is the bio, the artist statement, the philosophy. Does artist statement influence, talk about their influences, their practices, give a clear idea of what the artist is investigating through their work, which is pretty standard, but artist statement, artist bio should help us sort of see what is your philosophy and how are you approaching things. The next section is quality of previous work, and this is your work samples. Minimum of 5 points being poor quality work, poor work samples, not well executed, not well formatted. 5 points being excellent work samples, great quality, presentation of the portfolios on point, and a great base of practice. So we see a lot of work samples that show a consistent dedication and growth happening. And then the last section, demonstration of need of resources. So these last three questions that are the 150 words help us figure out, does artists have a clear plan for their creative entrepreneurship? So each question is on 10 points. The rubric readers, the people who will be scoring the applications, will score those based on the demonstration of the need for resources. Yeah, those are questions. Any missing parts, Lynette, Tiffany?
Yeah, I would only just add, just for success around time, we know life happens, that you may have pre-planned vacations. The first week of July, which is the 4th of July week, we actually have a break. So there's no class that week. We want to definitely observe that if people already have planned vacations. And then for the time commitment, you are allowed to miss one in person and one virtual. So you do have 2 classes that you can miss max, and that's it. We would like you available the entire time, but we understand life happens, things happen, and travel is scheduled. So we'll let you know that that is required as well. All right. Any other questions or comments or concerns? Okay. Artist Hill Williamson raised your hand. Hi. All right. Are you on mute? You're on mute.
Okay, I'm sorry for being on mute. I'm really excited about this opportunity, and I have a question about the, and I can't remember what number it was, but I think it was in the 30s, like question 32 or 31. I think it's basically asking how do you fund how do you fund your business? And one of the answers was acquisition. Yeah, grants. Yes, 21. Oh wow, went by fast. Okay. Um, oh, how do you access capital? Expound on that more. Like, what is acquisitions? Is that the selling of your work?
Yes. So typically, okay, so pretty much we want to know, how are you funding your creative practice? How are you generating income for yourself? Is your art practice primarily based on grants? Are you submitting quarterly and monthly grants to have the income to be able to produce your art? Commissions, do you have a post that you make on Instagram and say, hey, I'm accepting commissions and I'm going to sell my work this way? Acquisitions usually happen in an institutional level. So corporate acquisitions, that mean your artwork is for a private collection or a gallery or museum. TILA facilitates a lot of acquisitions for corporate offices. And that's, the way to get your artwork in public spaces, maybe not doing a gallery or museum exhibition. Fellowships. Fellowships are a great way to generate income for your art practice, because a lot of fellowships come with a stipend. They come with maybe a $15,000 or $20,000 stipend, which would be great as a capital infusion for you to do your art. And then residencies. Are you taking time to retreat for yourselves and actually do your art practice? And a lot of times residencies, whether a week or 2 weeks, for example, the Hambidge Center in Raven Gap, Georgia, that is funded. They have an award through Fulton County. They actually pay for you to go to that residency program. So we want to think, are you creative and thinking about the ways to access capital? And if none of these apply to you, it's okay. You can leave that option blank, because that maybe tells us that, hey, this person needs some support and ways, and to create in her career roadmap of how to access capital to fund your art practice. So that's what we're kind of getting there. So don't get intimidated by that question either. Does that help?
Okay. Yes, it does. So let's say I've applied for fellowship but I didn't get accepted. I should choose that as,
Yeah,
can I answer
absolutely.
yes for fellowship,
Absolutely. You
even
try.
though I didn't get it? Okay.
Absolutely. I try for a lot of things and I don't get them either. But it's a way
Okay.
that I actually try to fund my practice as well as fellowships and residencies.
Okay.
Totally
That
done.
that helps a lot. And
Yeah.
can you expound a little bit more on question 34? Um, how do you balance the integrity with the business,
Yeah.
your artistic integrity
I'll
with
let
your business
Aisha,
practice?
sure, I'll let Aisha take that one. I feel like she does that explanation the best. And then Anaya, I see you. Call on you next after this one.
Yeah, one way I would approach this question is when I think about my own artistic integrity, I'm a social practice artist, so I think about this a lot when it comes to both funding as well as executing my work. How am I balancing the day-to-day aspects of both like running a business, working with institutions, working with governments, while also like serving the community and like being in my like core beliefs as an artist, which is often like public health or investigation. So how do we sort of balance both being creative beings, but also running a business and existing in the world at the same time? There are many ways to approach this question. It could be about your ethics, it could be about morals, it could also just be about the way in which you separate time for your practice away from the marketing and finances. There's no like right or wrong with this one. It's really just about like what the aspects of running your business are important to you and what way are you approaching them. Does that work help?
It does. Actually, it does.
Awesome. And then
Thank you.
Ania. No problem.
It's Anya, actually,
Hi.
Oh,
but no
sorry,
worries.
Anya.
So my question is also about the raising capital question. So what about contracted services? Like I'm a dancer, so which category would they be belonging to based on your options?
I think
I would do
commission.
commissions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
commissions.
This
Commission?
question, also don't overthink this question, y'all. This is like super, super minor. It's not how many boxes you check. We're just curious what people are. It's more like information for us than it is something that affects your application.
Okay, all right. And then what about residencies that don't pay you? They just offer free space. If I actively seek those, I should also mark that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Space
One
is
way to look at,
a gift.
yeah,
You're not paying
exactly.
rent there, so that is a great gift. That's an in kind, and that has a monetary value for you to have the time and space to actually work out and workshop some of your ideas and concepts.
Yeah. And create work that you can then sell into collections and other things.
All right. Any other questions? Raise your hand. Okay. Anything that did not feel clear that you wanted to go back over, either the curriculum, anything of that nature?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Emmanuel Laylaw here. I don't have any questions, but I just would like to say I appreciate the BeltLine and TILA's commitment to meeting everyone where they are at. I really appreciate that. And I just wanted to say that. But thank you.
Thank you. We're excited. Okay, y'all. I mean, I'm not gonna hold y'all for a full hour if you have no questions. I'll let
Amazing.
it go for about 2 more minutes. I'll stay on as the last person to leave. But just to stay in contact with us to ask questions, I'm going to drop in the email address where you can direct all questions to us. Oh,
See.
the hand up. I'll drop that in there as well. And then we'll follow up via email with some resources, because a great question that came out of last informational session was, what's the difference between an artist bio and an artist statement? And a lot of people get hung up on that. So we do have some examples that we provided to the last group that we'll also follow up with this group. And I just have one other hand raised, and then we can hop off and y'all can go frolic in the sun. It's a gorgeous day for the BeltLine. So I'm going to go to the BeltLine shortly after this. Z, BDI,
Hi,
sorry.
how y'all doing? I came a little late, so I was curious if I could see the curriculum again. Just a
Yeah,
brief.
sure. Yeah, so just to kind of give you a preview, just quickly for
Thank you.
those of you who all want to listen in again, week 1 is just all about getting to know your cohort. So we'll have you in person for in-person celebration at the goat farm. You'll get a really beautiful notebook that we're making for you. It's probably going to be about 100 pages long that will walk you through the entire 9-week course. Week 2, we have an incredible facilitator from LA who is super dope. She's going to be talking to you about how to build your career roadmap and what that entails and how to identify milestones to reach and attain your goals. Week 3 is going to be really fun because we'll be bringing in a sculpture artist that has previously worked with the BeltLine, a local fabricator. So you'll get that firsthand knowledge on how to bring your ideas to life and really how research plays a role in that to actually producing that. And then week 4, we'll go over documentation and your portfolio development. So we want y'all to know that documentation matters to secure your next big project. So why having a great archive of not only documenting the process, but the outcome. So we want to walk you through that and maybe take you on an example of how to apply that to your practice. Week 5 is Aisha's kind of sweet spot is ethical community engagement. So when you're doing and presenting things to the public, you want to make sure you have a great understanding of the people in your backyard that you're looking to serve. What questions to ask, how to facilitate community dialogue, how to host listening sessions and actively listen to those and implement that feedback into your public art project. Week 6, we want to break down proposal writing and demystify the fear of writing them, and tell you all the keywords to use, and what comprises of a successful RFP when you're submitting it to public and government entities. We'll go over contract negotiation. We have a really dope lawyer that's coming in and she's going to tell you what to do and what not to do, what to look out for, so you can be the best advocate for yourself if you don't have legal representation. And then also how to seek pro bono legal counsel if you can't afford legal services, because legal is very expensive. 30 will go week 8 and July 30th will be in person. We have some incredible public art practitioners in the community that will be going over personal budgets and how to project manage a public art project, which may take years to complete, and how to make sure you're staying on time, meeting the milestones and deliverables. Week 9, we're hoping to break you off into cohorts in small groups where you actually can present an idea that you want to bring to the public and also share your career aspirations with the BeltLine and with community members so we can see how to best pipeline you into career opportunities, whether it's this year, next year, and in the future. So that's really a kind of deep dive on that, but we have about 8 facilitators that are going to be taking you through the curriculum. Does that help, Z? And I hope that helps some others as well.
Yes, that was very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, beautiful people. Application closes at midnight. Oh, I was supposed to drop in the email to send us questions. Send all questions to arts. And no matter how big or small you think that question is, ask it. And it will be me responding. I check the email 3 times a day around 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 5 o'clock. If I get an email after hours, I'll be making sure that I respond first thing the next morning, even on weekends. Well, we only have like 1 day left. So just ask any questions that you have. All right. Well, y'all go be great and have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. This recording will be available online via YouTube in about an hour. We'll send it up to you all as well and with some tips and tricks on how to apply.
Tiffany, can I just add one thing before you
Of
go?
course.
you all have now been officially deputized to now tell a friend. So even if a friend cannot participate, but you know an artist that this would benefit from, please share the information with them as well. So that's it. Go have a great remainder of your day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.